Hi, everyone, and welcome to the S.T.A.R broadcast. S.T.A.R stands for Shining the Auspicious Rays. And we are talking about my journey to doubt.
Are you excited?
A little bit nervous, but that's okay. So, don't tend to talk about myself that much. So, it's going to be a positive thing for me. So, I'm going to start from when I was 14. Because that's when I would say I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease when I was 14. So I was at school. I was studying for, at the time it's called your standard grades at school, and I wasn't very well at all. And my mum took me to the doctors, and they thought it might have been a burst appendix. So they took me into hospital, and they said they were just going to put a little camera inside my stomach. And at 14 years old, I woke up getting told I'd been for a major operation. 6 inches of my bowel had been removed, my appendix had been removed, and the left side of my ovaries had been removed as well. Now, at 14, no one really explained to me when that happened to me. No one really explained to me what this would be, right? So at 14, I thought that was me. I wouldn't be able to have kids.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was my ovaries gone. And I later found out, I think I was in my early 20s when my mother told me that she was young and she lost one side of her ovaries and she went on to have 4 kids. But I went quite a few years when I was young thinking I would never ever be able to have any kids.
That must be awful.
It's one of those things where you just, at 14, you were like that, so this is going to be my life. And, you start planning it in your head, and then when my mum spoke to me, I was like, so this will actually be a possibility for me. So yeah, it was. But my younger life, my teenage years was just fully operations. So I got an operation when I was 14, I got an operation when I was 17, and I got an operation when I was 19. So every time I went for an operation, there was a lot of, before the operation, there was a lot of time I spent in my bed unwell. And then there was a lot of recovery time after an operation as well. So I ended up spending a lot of time on my own when I was young, and being at school and everybody's going out and everybody's doing what you do when you're young, and I could never ever go and join them. So I lost a lot of friends growing up. And
how long was that for then, Laura, if you don't mind me asking?
It was kind of an up and down. So what would happen is every time I went for an operation, and then I would recover, and then I would be healthy for a certain amount of time, and then the only treatment I would get for my Crohn's was steroids, and then an operation. So steroids would wreak havoc on my body, and I wouldn't sleep, and I would get really angry, and then I would eat loads. So I used to blow up as well. So it was just, my teenage years wasn't what everyone else's teenage years was, because I had Crohn's disease, and it did have a big impact. Like when I left school, I went to college and I studied acting and performance because it's what I wanted to do. And I think I was there for 4 months. And I told them that I had Crohn's disease and everything at the time, and they knew I had been for an operation in the past. And when I started to get ill, I spent as less amount of time off college as I possibly could, and I went in for an operation at 17. I woke up with a huge big scar all the way down my stomach. Now, the surgeon said to me at the time, he says, I left your belly button. That had some impact on me, because I was like, what were you not going in? I later found out that it was a huge big thing, getting an operation down almost the full length of your stomach and still having a belly button. So, but then the healing from that scar, I don't rest very well, so the healing recovery was always really difficult for me because I felt better. And so I wanted to go and do things. So I burst my scar a couple of times, and it was really thick at some bits. So at 19, when I went in for another operation, they actually cut some of my stomach away and then gave me a fine line down my stomach. And again, I was told they left me my belly button. I should be grateful for having a belly button. And but yeah, that was my life. I think I've had in total throughout my life 5 operations for my Crohn's, and I've also had a benign lump removed from my breast as well. So health wise, it's been a pretty difficult road, but I still managed to work. When I left school, I started working for all jobs. I started working as a lifeguard. So I'm just throwing myself into the deep end of work there, and but I really enjoyed that, and qualified as a swimming instructor, and that's where I found my love of kind of teaching and things like that. And when I wasn't feeling my Crohn's was active, I used to go on reception. And I noticed in the leisure industry that the deaf community wasn't catered for. So I went and I did this was supported by my work, I went and I did my sign language level 1. And I came back and I says that it wasn't sign language level 1. You couldn't speak to anybody who was deaf. So I went on my sign language level 2, and I come back with a greater understanding of sign language and how to have a conversation with someone. And I started teaching deaf kids how to swim. And it was one of the most, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It was one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my whole entire life was do that. And it's something I miss now is that side of it. And I got a lot out of it, because you'll find that not a lot of hearing people will go away and do something like that. Usually it's somebody whose parents are deaf, or they've got somebody they've grew up signing and stuff like that. So I still, to this day, I don't know a lot of sign language anymore, but the stuff that I do know, I still will, if I see somebody who's deaf outside, I will go up and have a conversation with them and let them know that I'm here if they need any help with anything. And I do. I find it very rewarding. But I didn't stay in the leisure industry for forever. I ended up moving on to youth work, and I started working with the Princess Trust and things like that in schools. And again, I really, really enjoyed that. And I ended up, one of the highlights of that job was I was in that job in the city centre of Glasgow for the Commonwealth Games. And I got to design the programme for the deprived areas of Glasgow. So see children who were 5 and didn't know how to catch a ball and things like that. They are the children that I designed programmes around. So I put up screens outside so everybody could watch. I then got a coach. So depending on what sport was playing up on the screen, I would get a coach to stand underneath the screen to teach kids about that sport. So that everybody could be involved. And then see, after that, we would then do different little, whether it was, I can't remember now, whatever sport, say judo. So we would get the coach back in our sessions to give them just little bits, and it was so rewarding. And you saw that they got a lot out of it as well.
Did that help you, like, because you hadn't really had a lot of that social side at school and that? Like, did that help you, like, then be able to fulfill some of the stuff that you wouldn't have been able to do if you had stayed at school?
I think with the job I did, I was a supervisor. So I was lucky enough to come across play, came across youth, and I went across adult learning. And I got to see everything that was out there. And I also got to speak to teenagers that were like myself, who maybe had health issues or who weren't the most sociable or confident. and they're the ones that I used to, the children that go to the quiet space in school.
Yeah.
They're the ones I would go and speak to,
Yeah.
because that's the ones that I would say that needed the extra support.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot out working in the schools with the Princess Trust, and doing things that I would have loved to have had the opportunity to do when I was younger.
Yeah. So it was
One of
sort of like,
those, one of those was the Duke of Edinburgh,
mm,
and I loved that. I loved doing all that, and I used my lifeguarding skills and took life saving as a skill for them, and took them all across the road into the swimming pool and gave them life saving as a skill. And the Duke of Edinburgh is something that I believe in,
yeah.
and I think it gives them such a good basis that what they need to do in order to get that award is really, really difficult,
I
especially
was
for
just
those
gonna ask,
ages.
yeah. I was just gonna ask that, like, because it's quite like not a complex, but you do quite a lot of things, don't you, on the Duke of Edinburgh?
Brogan, do you know anything about the Duke of Edinburgh?
Not very well, but I know that they do put on quite a lot of events, big events, and many of them turn up. So I'm not quite sure what they do. So
It's they do. The thing is about the Duke of Edinburgh, it's different for every single individual, and that's why I like it. Is the Duke of Edinburgh is set up for young people to actually go and ask places of work to, like, give them a skill or things like that, and they actually need to go and find it themselves, and it gives them a lot of empowerment as well. And it's something that I wish that I'd done when I was younger. Don't get me wrong, my mother gave me the choice, and I was like, I don't think I can do anything like that. But now actually being, like, in it and seeing, like, what they do, and the gold, especially the silver, I think that every young person should get the opportunity to do the silver if they can do it, and then the gold if the gold's really, in my eyes at the time when I was doing it, was really pretty difficult to achieve. So anybody with a Duke of Edinburgh, I would honestly, I remember getting told that when you were younger, if you had a Duke of Edinburgh, you'll go up the top of the job list. See, now I know what's involved in it, and I was a manager, I would hire anybody who had a Duke of Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Because of what you need
so
to do, I guess.
what does it take to get the bronze and the gold and the silver?
It's so many. You need to. There's 4 different parts to it. I can't remember exactly the 4 different parts, but there's 4 different parts to it. You need to put down hours to each one of these parts, and you need to get all. You need to make sure that these, like, you have a little piece of paper, and if I was helping you with your skills bit, you would need to make sure that I wrote on that bit of paper and gave you your hours, because if I didn't do that, then those hours wouldn't be accounted. And that was a lot. The biggest problem that people came across was that their hours weren't accounted because they just weren't used to asking for these things. They're saying, no, this is I've did this, so can you make sure and do this for me? So, but it was a lot to do with empowerment, and depends what you were into, and that's another thing, because you weren't told this is what you have to do. It's basically find a skill, and then you can do it on that skill. You just need this amount of hours. It's really good, and it's something that I think that everybody should then get the opportunity to go on and do. But
Yeah.
Sorry. So they
No,
never told you what to do. You had to pick a skill for yourself. So there wasn't like a category of skills.
So basically, all you get is the 4 different headings, and I know one of them's skill. That's why I keep going back to that one. So, and it would give you a little description of what they deem a skill to be, And as
Okay.
long as, so I know that you've done martial arts. Which one was it that you did? Taekwondo?
Yeah, Taekwondo.
So you could use that as your skill.
Okay.
You can go and do Taekwondo because that's what you know how to do. So
Okay.
it's, or you could go and do the life saving because that'd be a new one for you. So it's good. It's very individualised, which is what I liked about it.
Sounds really good.
I really, really enjoyed the Duke of Edinburgh. But I actually left that job in order to get married. And I married the army, and I moved out of Scotland and went to live in Northern Ireland in Lisbon, and absolutely I loved it there. Absolutely loved it. I had 2 children, and a few years after we get married, unfortunately, my marriage broke down, and moved back to Scotland, and contacted an old boyfriend for a bit of company, and not realising that it would cause me a lot of trauma, and I didn't recognise any of the coercive control that happened during that relationship. And I know a lot about coercive control now, and knowing what I've been through, I didn't see any of it at all. And it's I've learned a lot of lessons from that relationship. Now that relationship ended really traumatically for me, and I've actually got CPTSD from it, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's after we ended our relationship, the police were involved, and I spent 2 years waiting on what had happened to reach court. It was COVID at the time, it was 2020, and the courts were all shut and things, so I had quite a long wait for mine to go to court. But I was lucky in he got convicted. He went to jail. And then after he went to jail, that's when my healing started. I got referred to a centre for an emotional support worker, and I get now 12 weeks at this centre whenever I want, and they are absolutely amazing. But the issue is that due to funding, you only get 12 weeks, and then after the 12 weeks, you're discharged. You can re-refer yourself at any time, but you are still discharged. And they knew that I needed support. I couldn't have been my PTSD was quite bad. I know now that I had high anxiety with secondary depression as well. So life was pretty difficult. So they put me in touch with a company called Penumbra, and that was to stop the harm I was doing to myself. So I was put in touch with Penumbra because I was going to start trauma therapy. Now, anybody that's been through trauma therapy knows that that's the time they tend to do more harm to themselves. So it was one of these things that I had to do a course on that before I actually started trauma therapy. And I went through trauma therapy for a year before stopping. And not because I was finished, but because I needed a break. And I took a break. I took a break from healing, but I didn't stop my own personal development. I'd gotten to during the 2 years and the first bit of healing after that, it became quite agoraphobic. I didn't leave the house very much at all. Didn't feel safe leaving the house. So I joined the gym. It was a private gym, and it was somebody that I knew previous. It's the reason why I went there, and I knew I needed to help myself. And I thought that I heard exercise helped people, so I thought I'm going to go. I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a go, and I got really, really. The gym ended up being my safe space, and I now have a job there. And it's one of my favourite places to go is my work. because they're absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I started weightlifting, and I'm a tiny size 8, 55 kilo weightlifter, and I absolutely love it. And at the time that I started weightlifting, I didn't eat very much, and the people I worked with was very, very good. They knew I needed it for my mental health, but they knew that my mental health sometimes made it impossible to eat, because I've still got Crohn's disease, and it was with my PTSD and my Crohn's disease, I just don't feel hungry a lot. So there was times where I couldn't lift weights, and I had to find something else. So I also did yoga as well, and I did the two almost side by side. So we do the weightlifting in the gym, and when I couldn't do the weightlifting, I would do the yoga at home. And the both of them together, I found, was the recipe for peace in my head. But I still struggle with my mental health, even with having the gym, and even with so I'm now a first aid trainer assessor for the work for the private gym, and also do admin as well. So from a year and a half ago, not having a job, to now being a first aid trainer assessor and managing a business with the owner of the business, who she owns an injury management clinic, and it's also a private gym, and she's also started the training academy, and that's the one that I'm managing, and I absolutely love it. But she was the one that actually pointed out the fact I've got ADHD. So just to add that in, she asked me if I had it, and I said, I don't know. And then a few other people had said to me as well, and I went and researched it. And do you know that way where you read something and you feel like somebody's written this about you? So that's what I felt when I read about ADHD, because when you read about ADHD, you only read about the young boys' ADHD. You don't read about adult females with ADHD. So you don't know you don't know all the stuff that I do in my everyday life is actually because I've got ADHD. And it was difficult learning that, and then I've never been diagnosed, but I'm 100% sure that I've got it. So
Does it help make a lot of sense of things to you then?
a lot of sense to a lot of things. But I also don't see the point in getting diagnosed for something that I know that I have.
Yeah.
So I don't want another.
Yeah, I did get diagnosed for it, and I found it really quite useful getting that diagnosis. Do you know what I mean? Because it just sort of like for the ADHD, because
No, but
then
what does it help with?
because then I was able to be medicated for it, and it helped slow down. The medication helped slow down my thinking, so that where I was very erratic and I wasn't getting anything done, it helped like slow my brain down, so that I could actually think about what I was doing, and I could like complete a task, because I had that many unfinished tasks, that many things that I didn't complete all the time. Yeah, that's the medication, what I would normally like, it normally like thingo somebody up and make them go a little bit like, oh, like that. That doesn't happen with when you're medicated. It sort of, it brings clarity to your thoughts. So now, like, I am able to finish projects. I am able to, like, I can research something properly and I can stick with that. And I don't have so many unfinished projects. Do you know what I mean? I still do have times where I might not, I will forget my medication or whatever. And it does have that effect where you will slip a little bit again. But in terms of, did it help me find some order to my life? Absolutely, without a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, I don't know. I think that as an older, because we can have that diagnosis, and it can bring that bit of order to your life, because obviously it brings about the medication, and it brings about the right support from like psychiatric teams. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that can be useful. Or it's different for each person, probably. You know, if that's not something that you'd feel that you need, then it's like,
Do you know what? It was another label for me, and I'm
yeah,
just not sure what benefit it would have for me. I'm not sure if I want to take medication for it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
so, but it's interesting, and I doubt it's not even something that I've even went as far as to speak to the GP about, because
yeah,
I've also got another condition that's called, there's a couple of different pronunciations of it, but the easy one I find is axial spondyloarthritis, and
yeah,
it's arthritis of my pelvis and spine.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's
so
yeah,
see, we having Crohn's disease, having AS, having PTSD, and having anxiety and depression. I'm already at war of what one I can how, like, you're only allowed to speak to the doctors about so many things at the one time.
yeah,
So again, I need to pick my battles when it comes to that. And I would
yeah.
say out of them all, ADHD actually falls down to the bottom of the list for what I would
Mm.
actually want help with.
Yeah, 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 of
So,
course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In Scotland, unfortunately, there is no health professional team for ADHD. It comes under a different neuro, nar-
neurological.
yeah, it comes,
Neurodiverse.
yeah,
neurodiverse.
Yeah.
it
Within
comes
the,
under,
yeah,
it comes under a different health care team. So we
mm,
don't have that in Scotland for adults.
yeah,
So I think
with it
over the
in
age
England.
of 14,
Mm,
you can't get help with it.
mm.
What's that? Is that like psychological help?
You just can't get diagnosed. They will diagnose you as undiagnosed ADHD, but you need to go out within Scotland to get help. But even then, you can't get help because if you're a Scottish citizen and live here, you can't get help without. It's very difficult.
Yeah, whereas in England it's dealt with differently. So you do have like the healthcare professionals, you do have a whole section that is for adult ADHD. Do you know what I mean? So that's a whole unit within itself. Do you know what I mean? So it's different.
I think that's absolutely. I can't believe that England has their own adult team and Scotland has absolutely nothing.
Yeah. As we do have our own. I didn't get diagnosed till later on. And
Hmm.
to be honest, I have to be honest, the diagnosis changed things for me. It changed my life. And so did the medication. It brought about like where my life had been extremely chaotic before. There was no order to it. It was really everywhere. It like, and I could do things. I'd done my degree in that beforehand, but that didn't mean that in my home that I was finishing jobs off. It was a little bit like I'd start one job and then I'd go on to another and another and I never actually finished anything. Whereas like it changed things for me. It did like massively. But if you haven't even got your own team to even deal with that, then like that what sort of situation where does that leave you?
As far as I'm concerned, my knowledge of Scotland was you just go to your GP,
Mm,
and then,
No,
but again,
yeah, they categorize it. They use you go to a centre or a building, they use the same building regardless. It's just a drop-in point. But they've got your anxiety and depression is in one category. Your physical health is another category. Your mental health is one category. But then that is even split into sections depending on how bad you are, as they put it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and then ADHD, ADHD comes under a whole different category that doesn't even exist in Scotland.
So that will be the neurodiverse that we're missing. No, it can't be.
Yeah. But
No, because
autism comes
that's
under a
what
different.
she says.
So
Right,
don't
okay.
you have the access and the psychological treatments then in Scotland?
What
Autism has a
treatment?
different team.
So
Autism
like,
Scotland.
yeah, we have like, so anything that falls underneath mental health. So like, so is ADHD, and that all falls underneath the access and the psychological treatments. So literally, we go to the doctors, and the doctor makes a referral to them, and then they like put you in with the right people. So like, even for like when I got my BPD diagnosis and that was all with the same. Do you know what I mean? And I have my own psychiatrist now that then reviews my medication. And because I have the AS and I have rheumatoid arthritis, again, it's in my spine and my hips, and it's right through my body. And I have a few other things, but then literally, like, that's how it's dealt with. It's dealt with. So then, like, what happens is, because there's so much medication, so that I have like medication for all the anxiety stuff and the depression stuff, and like, I'm on mood stabilizers because of the bipolar. So then, because then I have the medication for the ADHD, then on top of that you've got the pain stuff. So we just go to pain management clinics. We literally go to a clinic that they look at all the interactions between all the medications, and they deal with that. And then every year we have a review, and we get blood tests done to see whether or not, like, it's affecting your liver or it's affecting your kidneys or whatever it's affecting. Do you know what I mean? And then it does it like that.
No, I swear, the doctors see my name coming up on their list, and they're like, oh my goodness, what question is she going to ask me now? Because like, we don't have nothing like that. I go in and ask my GP, and I've got a psychiatrist, but like, they diagnosed me with my CPTSD, but like, they would probably be the one that I went to see about the ADHD. But it's even trying to get an appointment. I missed one appointment when I wasn't doing well, mental health. I wasn't doing well. Don't miss appointments for anything, right? But when I'm not well, I then start to miss appointments because my brain just can't. And I missed an appointment, and it put me to the end of the list. So, which will mean that it's over a year before I see my psychiatrist again.
Whereas your psychiatrist, the team would phone you here. The team would phone you. You would have a phone call because you're not well. Like, and then you would get another appointment.
I went into the doctor and I says, I missed that appointment because I need to see the psychiatrist because I'm not well, and I didn't. It wasn't a meant thing. I says, I didn't just meet. I got no reminder before it. I says, I just genuinely, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
But no phone call, no nothing, just straight towards the end of the list, and no help in between, none.
That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, the differences, though.
I agree.
Because we're both in the UK, but then because you're in Scotland and I'm England, it's different. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't believe there was such a huge difference, would you?
Mm-hmm. And what, we just a few hours with each other?
Yeah.
No, I agree. But this is why I found other things. This is why I don't rely on the NHS, because I've realised personally, for me, I can't, because of all the issues I've got. I just can't. So that's why I found the gym. Also found tattoos as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before how long? About 2 years ago, I barely had a tattoo anywhere, and now I absolutely love my tattoos, to the point where I've had my hand done, and half my body's covered in them. It's actually one of my favourites. So I'm designing a whole concept right now. So basically, It starts with my nature arm,
Mm.
and we go across. So it starts with my sun. It goes up my nature arm. It goes across. I've got wind catchers on my back. So my nature is for earth. My wind catchers are for air. I've then got a phoenix all the way down my side. That's for fire. I'm going to get a mermaid on my calf for water, and then there's going to be a moon on my foot. So I've did the 4 elements: the earth, wind, fire, and water. And I've got the sun and the moon, and I'm the spirit in the middle.
Yeah.
So, and I've loved designing all of that. I talk to I've got 3 different tattooists, and I speak to them all about my designs and everything like that. And I absolutely love it. And it's helped me so much with my own self-confidence. And it makes me feel very, very powerful. And it gives me ownership over my own body as well. It makes me feel as if my body is finally mine. And I absolutely love it. And I see, for looking at myself in the mirror, for somebody who really didn't like looking at herself in the mirror, I'm like, look at this. So absolutely, I love it. I love it all. And anytime that I catch them in the mirror or something, and I'm like, I just absolutely love them. But that was part of my healing. And that went hand in hand with the gym. So along with getting more physically powerful, I got more physically empowered as well. So, and with all of that, I also found spirituality. I was never a religious person. I went to the likes of Sunday school and Girls' Brigade when I was younger, because that's what my family wanted me to do. But I realised quite early on, religion I just didn't relate like other people related. I didn't find it comforting. For me personally, it didn't bring me any comfort. But when my first emotional support worker was very spiritual, and she used to speak to me about nature and about healing with nature. And that's what I actually started my healing with, was healing with nature. I was learning how to release my emotions and using water to do it. Now, being a lifeguard and swimming teacher and stuff, I love water. And learning to use water, because I want to keep a hold of everything. All my negative emotions, I didn't want to let go. I was stuck in a very, very heavy victim mentality. And even trying to get me to talk about what happened to me was extremely traumatic. But even with the trauma, me talking about it, I would still hold it all in. So I learned through nature and through water to actually release the negative and actually let it go. But it still wasn't a natural thing for me, and I still, years after learning it, still need to actually work on it and not keep the negative and actually let it go. But I've also got my crystals as well.
Yeah.
I wear these. These started when I thought I was going to need to speak in court. Now, what happened to me was extremely traumatic, and even I still hadn't told my full story to anyone when they were expecting me to go in court and talk about it. And I kept putting myself back to what had happened to me and staying there. And I would go into such a panic attack. And I realised that noise was my friend, because what happens when I get anxious is I start to shake my hands.
Yeah.
So every time I did that, I would hear the noise and I would realise I wasn't back there, and I was back here. So I don't take them off. Well, apart from when I got the tattoo done. It's the only time I took them off. But they all mean different things for my emotional healing, my crystals. And with regards to crystals, nature, music, and movement I would say, as the reason I'm sitting here okay today. And to the point where we were talking about TikTok the other day, I'm doing now my TikTok lives about movement and healing. And I'm going to do different somatic. Now, somatic yoga releases trauma that you've held on to within the body. And I'm basically going through different somatic exercises with frequency music and to try and get people to relax. This is one of the most stressful times of year right now. And I know that I'm more stressed than I usually am. So I'm doing this to help myself and also to help everyone else. And I really enjoy it. Really enjoy that part.
You was really good at it, though, to be fair. It went really well. To be honest, I think that a lot of people got a lot out of it.
I love that.
There isn't enough people that do it, to be honest. I mean,
I find that everybody's just. I think that you need more places to just sit and relax and just be. And I think that when it comes to me personally, when it comes to relaxing, I don't relax by just sitting down and just sitting back. That's not me as a person. I relax by moving and by doing things, and that's where yoga and breathing then comes in for me, because I can still move and relax at the same time, and then see afterwards I feel so much better, so much better.
it is like each to like everybody, like strangers now. We all have them different ways of being able to relax, and the things that will bring us them that healing and will bring us that comfort.
But do you not think that when people talk about relaxing, you think that you need to sit down?
Yeah, a lot of people do have that preconceived idea, don't they? That it's about like staying still and doing nothing. Whereas, like, I think like we've got to a point now, haven't we, that like relaxation's also about like massages. It's also about movement. It's also, do you know what I mean? Yoga's been like since the dawn of day. It's been for thousands of years, being a way of relaxation. It's not about exercise yoga. It's not
No.
really that, is it? Like, so we'd say that brogue and what she done, that like the taekwondo and that is a form of exercise. That's a form of, well, that's because it's quick movement. But yoga traditionally has always been a way of like relaxation. Do you know what I mean? It's just that people don't really understand it, I don't think, so much. We've
Yes, I
lost
agree with
touch with
that.
it. Yeah.
People just don't understand what it's actually.
Yeah. And they're quite like I have been anyway. I don't really understand it too much. And when you've got the conditions that we've got, like I'm not like I done karate and that. It is Daz Parsons has said you are a warrior, Laura.
Thank you very much.
Let's have a look. And Maggie is saying proud of you, Laura.
Thank you. Thanks, Maggie.
But you're sort of like, you're smashing it now. And that old mummy Wealth is saying truly inspirational.
Going as red as my jumper right now.
No, because you are doing something that people don't really do. Do you know what I mean? And then we've got Chris McTaggart. It's in your nature to care for people, give others support to love life.
Thank you so much. Actually, I wanted to be a safe space for people. That was my kind of goal. And
Connor's saying, Connor McLeod is saying you're a true angel, Laura. You all are much respect.
gonna make me cry.
Joanne saying, so proud of Laura for telling her story. Mary's saying, so inspirational, Laura. Thank you for sharing with us. But it's okay to release now, though, isn't it? And we've got TikTok Live Creator Agency. How has having Crohn's disease affected your perspective of models on life?
It's definitely. I don't know about on my morals, but it's definitely my Crohn's affects every aspect of my life to the point of when I can eat,
Yeah.
how much I rest, what I can actually do,
Mm,
and things like that. And I'm on biologics now. I don't really get operations. Got one, maybe about 10 years ago, and now I'm primarily treated by medication.
yeah.
But I've got diagnosed when I was 14. I'm 41 now. Like my I wouldn't know how to live my life without Crohn's disease. I remember getting pregnant. I've been pregnant twice in my life, and my Crohn's disease went away in my 2 pregnancies, and I could not believe that I could eat what I wanted, I could do what I wanted. Like I was pregnant, obviously, but I used my 2 pregnancies to eat because I finally could. But no, it has changed a lot of my life.
Joanne's asking, Joanne Fong, how does stress affect your Crohn's disease?
Well, I internalise all my stress, and that has such a knock-on effect. I tend to stress is my big knock-on effect with my Crohn's, and I would say that like I can like I start to feel sick and things like that, which stops me from eating and things, and then I know I need to then help myself in some way to reduce my mental health in
Yeah.
order to then activate my appetite, because
Yeah.
I can't eat when I'm not hungry, because I'll just make myself sick.
I do not think because I'm just sort of thinking now, and I'm thinking so I know that you're going to be doing your little your movement lives, and it is you are going to get that relaxing side of it, and you are thinking about other people by doing that. But do you not think that you're going to get so much massive, it's going to help you massively on your journey where you're at now? It'll give you that stress relief. It'll give you that, do you know what I mean?
Grounding. It's what I'll use as my grounding. It's what will actually. That's where I feel that I believe everything happens for a reason, and
Yeah.
I believe this is my next. This is what's for me. This is what's pulling me, is this
Yeah.
idea. And for doing it once, and the amount of love I've received after that, and yeah, it's definitely, it's all I want to do is be able to help people, and if sharing my story and what I do then helps other people, because I just don't believe there's enough information out there for people, not about things that aren't maybe socially the norm. And I believe that you're then not told all the appropriate or relevant information. And I believe that's, so I want to do these in order to show people that this, because as soon as you say frequency music to somebody, they kind of go,
What is it?
so yeah, kind of like don't really understand. So it's not actually telling people that I'm playing frequency music. It's just people telling me how relaxed they felt.
Yeah.
And well, that would be the breathing and the frequency music then.
Phil Turk is saying my youngest nephew has it. What I learned from it is my end ID to be patient with him. Is to be
Yes.
patient with him. Phil's again saying my sister is trying to see how he is without meds, and that's what I learned also. If I can help him with where his mind went, he feels satisfied and gets back on track.
Yes.
Because I am like, I'm sat and I'm like this. I really am quite mindful because of the whole, because I know you well. Do you know what I mean? So I'm excited that you're going to be able to help people in that way. But I'm also I'm more excited, Laura. I have to be really honest, babe. Is that like for the first time that you're going to get something? It's going to be. It's what you're going to receive is like. It'll be unbelievable. Old Mummy Wolf says she's 54 and she's got undiagnosed ADHD as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to
There's a
get
lot.
people
There's a lot of
yeah.
females. Mm-hmm.
I think that it'll help you as well, though, with your ADHD. I'm really excited to see that you're going to be on that journey for yourself, that you're going to be able to think about you. Benjamin, is it? Also try yoga, meditation, and supplement vitamins. Yeah, she is going to be doing the yoga, aren't you, with the meditation side?
So the yoga and the meditation, yeah, and I've also got a contact for supplements too, because rather than taking medication for my ADHD, I wanted to try supplements first.
Yeah, yeah.
And if they actually had any, there's someone that I know in America who is her name's, I call her coach. She's my life coach. She's absolutely amazing, and she knows so much about supplements and stuff, and she's going to give me a couple of names of a couple that will help a few things I've got going on, and see if that is the side I want to go down. But later on, if I feel that it's something, I might speak to my GP about it, and then I might speak to the psychiatrist. But like Brogan's already said, I genuinely, I cannot think of a female above 40 who has been diagnosed with ADHD that I've heard about or that I know in Scotland.
In Scotland, yeah. I was just going to say, because I like we was, Kevin's saying, Kevin Evanry, movement and vibration and peace is now massively important. Yeah, I think it's going to be massively important for you. Like, I think it's underestimated, Laura. I think that you've been on this journey that's involved an awful lot of other people and helping other people and doing for other people. And this, like, you're doing it to help other people, but primarily you're going to get so much back from it, in return for being like, I think that, like, I really believe that this is where you should be on now in your journey, in terms of your healing, in terms of your development, your confidence, your self-esteem, all of them things. I think it's just going to feed into absolutely everything without you being like, that's what you're doing it for.
It's one of these things that I always feel better after after doing some movement exercises and stuff and breathing, because I don't breathe properly. I know I don't breathe properly. I breathe way too shallow.
Yeah.
And see, after I've done my breathing exercises or help someone else breathe, I then feel better because I'm doing it with them. It's just exactly the same with the movements. If I'm showing somebody how to do movements, I instantly feel better. So, and what I was ending up doing was doing the movements to help other people. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm not doing this as more of a thing for myself. And I couldn't do it. So what I've decided to do is run my life for other people. So other people are relying on me to do this for me to stick to a routine.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the only
Nigel Holmes, well, you know who he is, Sloan, is saying he absolutely loves your tattoos, Laura. They're so cool.
Thank you so much. I'd love. Got plenty more planned.
Kevin Emery is saying you are bringing change and healing for so many with what you will do. Enjoy and hold these moments because you deserve it.
Oh,
absolutely. I couldn't agree with him more, that you deserve this moment you're going to get. Rashni is saying, Laura, you have come a long way. You should be proud of yourself. Thank you for sharing your story. Keep shining always. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much, Rashni. I've come across you a few times, and I think that you are absolutely amazing. Rashni is actually going to be a guest on one of our
She's going to be the week after Brogan's story, so the week after next we'll be having Rashni on as a guest.
Rashni's amazing. Absolutely love the girl. think she's amazing. But when I was thinking about what to say tonight,
Yeah.
and how to kind of end what I was going to say, I didn't really know. It took me a long time to decide on why I actually do what I do. Like just one sentence of why. And the reason I actually do what I do and I put myself out there so much is because I believe that pain can see me and I can see pain. And I believe that I went through everything that I've been through in order to be a safe space for people. And then my long-term goal doing this is to reduce the amount of pain in this world, because there's so much.
Yeah.
There's just so much, and it takes your breath away slightly. And I've got a wee poem to read out if you don't mind.
Absolutely, go for it.
This poem's by a girl called Whitney Hansen, and it's a poem that I did as a TikTok maybe about a year ago, and I keep coming back to it because I find it very powerful. I refuse to abandon my darkness because it is the only part of me that greets me with no expectations. It rejects the perfectionist within me and reminds me that real humans have skin as thin as paper and hearts as fragile as dragonfly wings. It does not tell me to be grateful, it begs me to be real. It does not ask me to be silent, it asks me to tell you exactly how I feel. So I refuse to reject the part of me that is dark, because without it, you would not see my heart.
Absolutely beautiful, Laura.
So we're not all light. None of us is all light. And
No.
I took accountability for my part in everything. And because I know my darkness, and I've met the part that I just didn't, I ignored and everything, and I have sat down with that. I know that my heart's in this for the right reasons.
Yeah. And the universe does truly see you, Laura. Now it is your time, beautiful. It really is. And I don't know about broken, but it has been it's been really lovely to get to know you on a different sort of level, for this time to be completely for you. And
It's not often that I do anything like this. I don't speak about myself like this, and I appreciate the guidance from you, Colleen, the help from you, Brogan. Appreciate you this week helping me with, because I was very, very nervous. It's not something that I normally do, but I'm so glad that I did it, and it has. I'm excited for my new direction. I really am, and I believe it's the right place to be.
Andrea Banks is saying, Andy here, love you, Laura. Thanks for letting me in.
Always, Andy, always.
Connor McLeod saying, you're awesome, keep shining, you're amazing.
Connor, I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Old Mummy Wolf is saying, Laura's been helping me with my migraines and gives me relief from the pain.
B, I love you. Thank you so much.
Maria Mofat is saying, it's Robin. You are amazing, Laura. Well done for sharing.
Thanks so much, Robin. I appreciate everyone.
Old Mummy Wolf is saying, beautiful poem.
Thank you so much for everyone for being here, and thank you for listening. I do really appreciate it.
We are going to sort of next week, we're going to talk about Brogan and introduce Brogan to everybody. So everybody gets it. Yeah, we were really looking forward to that. Aren't we, Brogan?
I don't speak.
Yeah. But it's been an absolute pleasure, today, Laura.
Thank you both. Honestly, I think that you are both absolutely amazing, and this week's you have just been my stars.
Jennifer Stower's saying, Brower's saying, thank you so much for sharing your story. It will help so many others, Sugar. You are a shining light.
Thank you so much to everyone.
Christina's saying she's ready to hear her voice, not Brogan. It's Brogan's turn.
It's
Brogan
Brogan.
will be in the house. But should we wind up and say goodbye to everybody?
So thank you for joining us, and we hope you see you next week. It's bye for us with love, light, and laughter. And please remember that you're only human.